Hey everybody, Jim here with Rookie Launch, and I want to kind of propose kind of a situation, force you to think, and make you kind of look hard in the mirror here. And how I want to do that is to ask you, what is your why? Why are you doing this? What is it? What are you doing? You doing this for money, for love, for acceptance, for validation? Are you doing this for freedom? Are you doing this to be free of stress, free of debt? What exactly are you doing this for? And do you still believe it? Do you truly believe in your why? Because it makes a huge difference. And so I want to kind of, challenge you today to kind of really think about what you're doing and why you're doing it, okay? And how I want to propose it is this. If you were busy doing life, whether you're just getting home from work, you're running late, you're picking the kids up from soccer practice, you're at the mall, you're at the grocery store, or if you've got all the time in the world and you're just, window shopping, and all of a sudden you see a young man with a clipboard and there's a plank on the sidewalk. It's a 2x6, it's a wide plank, and it's just right there on the ground. And he says, "Ma'am, would you please walk across this?" But there's no logical reason why. You're not going to do it. What? He'll sound like a weirdo. But now, take that same exact situation and have that boy with the clipboard say, "Hey, ma'am, I'm doing a social experiment for a college report. Could I give you $50? Would you take 30 seconds and just walk across this plank, and then I'm going to ask you a few questions?" Well, now, the why is bigger than the minor inconvenience to the disruption of your life. Why are you doing it? Well, the guy's going to pay me $50 just to walk across this plank. It'll take me 10 seconds. I'll answer a few questions. I'll have $50. The why is greater than the inconvenience or the fear or whatever it is, right? But now let me take that same plank that you just walked across with ease and put it between two buildings. Now it's 10 stories off the ground. Now would you do it for $50? Would you walk across that for that same $50? Oh no, there's a lot more risk involved. But what if I said, "Hey, I know it's a little more risk. I'll give you $200. Would you do it?" Probably not. If you fell, you'd die probably. I know you would, right? It's a 10-story building. But even if you thought you could, even if you never even wrestled with your balance while you was on the sidewalk, you still, the risk is just too great. Not for $200. But what if I offered you $500,000? Would you do it then? Well, I might get some of you to do it, but probably only half. $500,000 is an awful big reason, an awful big why to get really far out of your comfort zone and to take a risk, right? But now let me propose this. Now I put the other building on fire. Now the risk just went up quite a bit more. Now I offer you the $500,000, $500,000. Would you do it now? Well, now let's think about it. The $500,000 was just to go across the plank. It was a big enough why for a lot of you. But now we've added flames. Now that why isn't big enough. Why? Because on your way over to the other side, you might get burnt or die. Now $500,000 isn't that great of a goal or a big enough why, because how are you going to spend $500,000 severely burnt or dead? It's just become devalued. It's really not worth the risk now. But now let me take this situation, kick it up a notch. Instead of $500,000, what if I put one of your loved ones on the other building? Excuse me. Father, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, daughter, son, whatever. You've got a loved one that you care deeply about and they're over there. Now, are you going to go through that risk? You sure are. You're going to go get that loved one and you're going to bring them back to safety. What was the difference? The why. The why was the difference. Because your loved one's value was a lot higher than the $500,000. And so where we're at in our comfort zone in the present, the building that we're sitting on, we don't have to take any risk. We tend to say we're going to do stuff, but what we tend to do is it takes longer and longer to do, and we have more and more excuses to stay in our comfort zone, and then we start to settle. And the coping mechanism is, I'm not settling, is the coping mechanism is, well, and maybe you start devaluing the why. Well, I mean, I wanted to foster an extra child, or I wanted to do this, but you know what? Um, I can maybe do that some other time. You start to settle and you start to make excuses. So whatever that potential future reward is for you to take risks and get out of your comfort zone, right? The plank is uncomfortable situations, right? Whether that's paying money for extra skill and knowledge, taking the risk of whether or not it was worth your time and money, whether that's time away from instant gratification, Netflix, uh, hiding in the books. I call it in my rookie launch formula, my rookie launch program it's called hiding in the books. Oh, I got to learn one more skill. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I just want to learn this one more webinar. I got to learn how to do Facebook ad. Whatever the case may be, you just don't want to leave the comfort zone because there's risk involved, and your why maybe not be big enough. What is your why? So I want you to listen to this and tell me what you think of this next clip.
In every moment, there is the possibility of a better future, but you people won't believe it. And because you won't believe it, you won't do what is necessary to make it a reality. So you dwell on this terrible future, you resign yourselves to it. For one reason, because that future doesn't ask anything of you today. So, yes, we saw the iceberg on the Titanic. You will just steer for it anyway, full steam ahead. Why? Because you want to sink. You gave up. It's not the monitor's fault. That's yours.
So let me ask you something. Does your future ask anything of you? Does it demand a better you to accomplish it? What we have to ask ourselves is, your present future and your desired future are in conflict, and we self-medicate. We watch Netflix, we watch another webinar, we just need to learn another class, we just need to go to this another workshop or weekend webinar, what weekend masterclass or something like that, because the why we think is big enough, because we've really only looked at the first level, that superficial level of, I'd love to pay off my mortgage, things like that. So we go to launch, or we go to do things, and we just get right to that point. But then what happens is the flames of adversity, or, well, now I'm risking money, or now I'm risking time, or now I'm going to look like a fool, or it just ain't perfect, whatever it is, and it starts to look more dangerous, look more undoable, look more, it makes where you're at seem safer and more comfortable because it doesn't ask anything of you. And here's the thing. When your fear and doubt and laziness, or whatever you want to call it, I'm not saying I'm saying only you know only you can dig deep and see and answer these for yourself. But I know that there's no massive change until you've created the desired future that you want is more painful not to have than the position that you're in. Does that make sense? The pain of not achieving what your desire is and what your life purpose is has to be greater than the pain of sitting where you're at. Because in your present future that doesn't ask anything of you is comfort and excuses. And that plank is the journey of massive change to your vision or your passion and your desired future. And when that desire becomes bigger, the pain of not having it or achieving it, or the pain of the thought of not being able to accomplish it before you die. We have one life, we have one epitaph, we have one tombstone, we have one memory to give people. We have one life to do the things that we're going to do. And until the pain of not achieving that is greater than the pain of the risk, what happens when that vision or that passion becomes so desirable? Something magical happens, and it puts the flame where you're at. It puts it right under your butt, where you're no longer comfortable being where you're at. And the risk of walking across that plank is less painful or fearful than staying where you're at. And so, what do you need to focus on? What kind of freedom is it? Is it freedom from debt, freedom from stress, freedom from your job, freedom from where you live? What is it? Is it security for your family, funding your kids' college fund? Whatever it is, what do you need to focus on? Is it more time with your loved ones, not missing Bobby's soccer practice or Cindy's volleyball? What is it? Is it just knowing that there'll be no more stress and there's options? Is it living in the lap of luxury? Is it extreme independence, not worrying about some corporation having control of your future by its shareholders' profits? Is it endless options to do whatever you want, whenever you want, jump on an airplane and go wherever you want to go? Have you ever asked yourself, what do you truly want? What is it that you want to look back in 70 years old and say, I did what I wanted to do. I did every single thing. I have zero regrets. Do you want more of what you have right now? Look around you. Do you really want another 10, 15, 20 years of what you have right now? Would you rather have Netflix or trips around the world, if that's what's important to you? Just mindless entertainment or true entertainment? 2 weeks at Smithsonians whenever you feel like it. Jump on an airplane and go out to Washington, D.C. Do you want to keep up to date on the Game of Thrones or rent private helicopter tours of the Grand Canyon? Or is it funding your kids' college funds? Or is it fostering an extra child? Or going to Kenya whenever you feel like it and helping and funding everything? How much do you need for this? There you go. How much do you need for this? There you go. What is your why? Is it funding a soup kitchen all by yourself? What do you truly want? I know it ain't money. Money just gives you the options. We need money. Money's the scorecard. Money gives us the options to truly be who we are. But money isn't the end game. So what I want to challenge you to do is to make a vision board. I find this to be very useful, very effective. And I want you to learn to despise anything that isn't on it. Learn to despise every habit, every hour, everything you do. Learn to despise anything that isn't getting you closer to what it is that you truly want. And learn to despise any habit that isn't taking you closer to that vision. Because what I don't want you to do is wake up at 70 and realize that you pulled a Michael Scott. What is that? Let me show you what that is.
After 3 years of writing, 1 year of shooting, 4 years of reshooting, and 2 years of editing, I have finally completed my movie, Threat Level Midnight.
Right? Oh dear God. I wish nothing close to resembling this for you. I want you to get out and pursue it like a madman. This is why in the book Russell says you have to be irrationally passionate. What is it that will make you irrational? You're so passionate you're irrational because you have a vision that nobody else understands. They think you're crazy. You're doing it day and night, every spare minute. What is that? Because this is another thing I don't want.
It's 11 years, okay? This has been my dream for 11 years. And if you don't think it's great, then you're basically saying you don't believe in my dream.
So I want to challenge you to be the opposite of this person. I want to challenge you to take the time, get away from everybody, go on a walk, go get a cup of coffee and sit in a car in a parking lot in the shade. I don't care. Get in complete silence with a notebook and absolutely figure out what it is that you want. What do you truly want, and what are you willing to do to get it? It needs to put the flame under your ass, not on the other building. That's what'll happen when you truly get serious and sit down and figure this out. I love you guys. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments. And if you'd like my notes or my framework for this, let me know. And maybe that'll make it easier. Just filling out my framework might help you. So let me know if you want it, and I can dig around and find it. This is Jimmy, and I hope that you found this valuable and useful. I love you guys.